you, does your Xbox internet run better than on your laptop?
Yes.
Because I didn't realize that there is a Windows version that is cross-platform for Minecraft, so it'd be easier for you to play with us if it runs better on that. Just a thought. I would have to rebuy the game, and anyone else who has Java, but
Yes, I did get the Xbox Minecraft.
oh, you do have it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's just under my Xbox gamer tag rather than the account that I have for the Java one.
Are we ready? Probably help if I had my notes up.
But yeah, I don't think it's really an internet connection as opposed to just my laptop being old and sucking at running things.
And also having poopy internet.
But I play multiplayer on my Xbox just fine for the most part, so it's really just my laptop.
Okay, so, hello, welcome back. How is everybody? Everybody good?
I mean, most of the characters are good except for one.
That's rude.
We don't talk about that. Yes.
He's a hop-skotch champion. It's fine.
His nickname is now going to be Hobbles.
Nope. I will burn you alive before I let that nickname stick.
Man, that is
Okay,
definitely
Hobbles.
what good aligned people do. Okay, well, we've heard that. It was a rather scary, challenging time last week, wasn't it? The group came to a decision where they wanted to go as they prepared for the city to come under attack by the recently risen Shasharin, the black dragon, child of Tiamat.
That asshole.
They planned to go to the Temple of Ione to shore up something on Lair's behalf, and would get there quickly using the back alleys and shortcuts that Leah knows. On their way, however, Endar managed to spot yet another downed guard, and just as he brought it up to the party, everyone blacked out. They awoke some indeterminate amount of time later in captivity. Apparently, remnants from the Sand-Dollar gang had gotten their hands on the scrolls of Power Word Stun from guards around the city, and used a bunch of them all at once to disable the party. Leah and Cyrus learned that the members of the Sand-Dollar gang were working with another pair of people who had a different goal in mind. Leah remembered these people and fled in fear, leaving Cyrus to deal with two men who said they would be killing him to take his magic. And kill him they did. Take his magic they might have.
Technically, the dragon killed me, but that's splitting hairs.
Definitely splitting hairs, since they're the ones that put you into death saving throws. But yes. Now then, the rest of the party managed to fight their way loose from their captors, the members of the Sand-Dollar gang, who did not do their job nearly as well as they thought they did. A devastating and gruesome battle ensued, which left one of the members of the Sand-Dollar gang dead at Raiken's feet, and resulted ultimately in the acidic melting of the two mysterious blue-tattooed men, as apparently the dragon arrived in the city. Now, this would have been serendipitous to the party had the acid not also fallen upon their dying comrade, the sorcerer, Cyrus. Thinking quickly, Jebel ordered Yukikaze, after healing him, since he also was struck by the acid but did not die,
She was indomitable.
to grab the body of their fallen comrade, and Raiken rushed into the room, digging out his diamonds to perform a resurrection spell. Cyrus' soul was ripped from the Shadowfell and pushed forcibly back into his corpse, and he awoke in the shattered remains of the building in which they were held captive. And they faded out as Laramendus received a sending from Nalia, and the party tried to gather themselves as their gear had been strewn about. So, I don't know where I am right now. There we go.
And now the Raven Queen hates me.
But you don't know that yet.
Nope.
So, we pick up in this mess of colors. The house was, this area vertically and this area horizontally, until a jet of acid washed over it, and now this whole area here is just open to the sky. Leah, having disguised herself as a tiefling, had returned to the building and begun gathering her things, whereupon she was yelled at as a commoner by Lair, and then resumed or dismissed the illusion. So, we pick up in this room. Again, the roof is torn open to the sky, and everyone at this point has reclaimed their possessions except for Cyrus, who is still coming to grips with his condition. And Yukikaze, who is currently milling about picking up items from the floor that fell out of his melted bag.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up with the rest.
Laramendus is going to ask Ash where exactly they took us so that we can find our way to the Temple of Arathis.
Ash is going to spin about, surveying the scenery and your comrades for a bare moment, and then he will turn to you and say, after you disabled Scholar, these people collected you and dragged you off to this building, which lies about 1 city block to the east of the position where you were assaulted.
Do you know which direction we need to go to get to the nearest large road?
Heading directly south, or directly west, or directly east.
Excellent. And how long were we out for?
You were unconscious for about 5 minutes.
That is much faster than I was expecting.
They were very efficient, Scholar.
I turn to everyone and say, we need to get to the Temple of Arathis immediately. The guards are collecting citizens and bringing them there. I assume that they have a plan. Nalia is headed in that direction.
I'm going to revise that to 10 minutes.
Is Lorelei close enough that I can sense her now?
Yes.
Yes, I'm gonna contact her telepathically. And tell her where we are.
She's going to say, I got the guards! I can't find you!
It's fine, they're dead, but now it's the dragon to deal with.
The guards aren't dead. They're with me.
Not the guards, the guys who took us. I know who they were. I can explain later, but now we need to get to the temple.
The guards are taking people to the Temple of Arathis.
Good. Have them keep doing that.
There's a long pause. You can, like, hear little, I don't think they'll follow my orders.
You're probably right. Which temple were we meeting up in? Like, which
Arathis.
temple?
Was that
which temple are we going
to the group at large, or was that to
Yeah. I'm like auto character. What temple are we going to?
the Temple of
Just
Arathis?
Yeah. So the same temple.
Yeah.
Just meet me at the temple. And just please be careful.
I will follow the guards. I will meet you there. She once again goes out of range.
Yeah.
You know that choker thing that Cyrus had on?
Armband. Or do you mean the collar?
Collar thing.
Yes?
Was that in the Path of the Acid?
Yes.
When I tore it off?
It was in the path of the acid. Acid fell directly upon it.
Okay.
I'm gonna, while everything, we're just for a moment, I'm gonna run over to Leah real quick. Like, hey, Leah, you still got your bag of holding?
Yes. Now I do. They removed it.
Oh, that's good to get it back. Do you, like, hold my stuff until I can get a new backpack, please?
Yeah. How much does it weigh?
It's not a whole terrible lot.
What's the biggest
So,
one?
my biggest item is... That's all gonna stay on my body. If I have still, my clothes can hold it. Just,
They're intact enough.
that I won't have with me. The max is...
The max that you can carry?
No, that I had on me was like 16 pounds, and that was just I had a total of 1 pound, 5, 6, 10, 16, 17, 27, 27
Call it 40?
Yeah, about 40 or 50, that's it.
Call it 50.
40,
Yeah.
50
call it
pounds.
50. Yeah, that's
50
fine.
pounds of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll let you put it in the bag of holding.
Alright, thank you.
It's important to keep track of. As far as I understand these things, they like explode or something if there's too much in it.
Yeah, call it 50 for now. Jebel, are you going to be checking, like, looking over to the place where you dropped the collar?
Yes.
Okay, you'll notice that it is still sitting there, with everything around it melted and twisted and blackened, and it looks, other than the damage you did to it as an earth elemental, completely unharmed.
Oh, I'm gonna pick it up.
Someone help me get my stuff.
I remind you that Jebel gave Cyrus his spear to use as a
Crutch.
like a crutch.
As a crutch, yeah. It's very small though. Is it possible for some other dragonborn to maybe lift them?
Since you're carrying all my stuff, Leah, Cyrus, yeah, do you want me to, like, carry you or something, or help you walk?
Yeah, first I need my equipment though.
It is, your equipment is over by Leah.
Yeah, I can take your equipment in a bag of holding as well, if it doesn't weigh more than 100 pounds.
Everything all together weighs about 80, but I'm keeping the cloak and the armband on me for obvious reasons.
Okay. Leah, you can spend your time stuffing these items from Yukikaze and Cyrus's pile into the bag. Are you going to let her put the dagger away, or do you want that?
I think he said he wanted his dagger.
He said the cloak and the
Okay.
armband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then that means that.
Yeah, the dagger won't do me much good.
Okay. Well, then, Yukikaze has you, over his back. And the rest of the party is gathered.
I have
Before
an
he picks me
important
up,
question.
though. After you.
Did they take the thing pendant?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
The which pendant? Your, the pendant with Syl in it?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to ask her about the item?
No, I was going to ask if the people who had stolen all the rest of my stuff after everything had taken all of my money.
Yep, they
And
did. And your diamonds.
Yes. Did they take pendant as well?
Ah.
Did it look valuable enough?
Yeah, that is a very good question. What's
Oh, I probably should be honest and say, what about my draconic charm too?
That's actually a very good point. Since they could open the bag of holding, did it take anything else than just my instruments, or like are the money still there?
No, they seem to be just removed several items from your bag of holding and set them in a row like they'd been examining them, but they hadn't done anything with them yet.
We had the room with the thief lead.
So lucky you, the Syl pendant, the emerald on it is very small, and it otherwise just looked like a gnarled root and wedge of dirt. So he did not take it.
That's something at least.
Malachi, you described utilizing the charm during the fight, so I think it makes the most sense to leave it on you.
Fair point, good. Okay.
It's a fair point that it definitely looks valuable, and had I thought about it more, he probably would have taken it, but I'm not retconning that.
That's understandable. Alright. Well, that's fortunate on my part.
Yes. Because he definitely would have taken it had I thought more about it. I'm thinking about the time I gave Sam. I keep coming back to it in my mind and going, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense. So I am going to change my response on that one. Because 5 minutes was way too short. Sorry. I just sort of pulled the number out thinking, yeah, that makes sense enough. Like, no. Sorry, Sam. It will have been an hour.
Okay.
Which is why you all woke up naturally. Since that is the interval for being unconscious in most cases. I know
Question.
that this was a spell, which is part of the reason I chose such a short period of time, but I think this makes more sense. Yes, what's your question?
If Larabendus has that feat that lets him... he does. He has the feat that lets him tell what time, or basically how long until sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that work even if you get knocked unconscious?
I asked Ash for the time.
I know, but I was just wondering.
I think the idea is that if you can see the sun, you can judge very quickly how long it's going to be with the feat.
I think the feat just makes it so that it's like innate that you're, because I think you're supposed to be able to use it even if you're traveling underground and stuff.
Okay.
I haven't looked at the wording of it, but it seems like the kind of thing that is just like, you spent a feat on this, you are innately able to do this. Just like dwarves are innately able to, well, used to be innately able to know their depth underground.
I liked when they had a chance to know if they were going up or down.
Yeah. We're going, down? I think. Maybe. Don't quote me on that.
You always know the number of hours left before the next sunrise or sunset. Is all it says.
Yeah, so it's just it's now an intrinsic part of you. You always know, no matter what circumstances. Even if you were unconscious, even if you're underground, even if you're in a place that has a sunset every 2 years. Okay.
Did that say approximate?
No. You always know the number of hours left before the next sunrise or sunset. You always know which way is north. You can accurately recall anything you have seen or heard within the past month. It's a weird one.
It's a fun one.
Experience by now.
I hope that nobody had anything on the cart that they desperately need, because I don't believe we should go back.
Yeah, well, that's just part of their treasure hoard now.
The guns are on the cart, just so you know.
I mean, yeah, desperately no, but
Excellent. Thank you for your understanding.
I want the guns.
Don't care.
Oh, my loot, my
Those
stuff.
could change the tide of the war and shit. We could use those to fight the dragons.
I already lost a leg to this crap. I'm not losing something else.
Well, you're alive, aren't you?
Barely.
Oh, there's 400 gold pieces on your cart.
So hell.
How far out of the way is the cart?
Directly out of the way.
directly.
It is in exactly the wrong direction, pretty much. Like, it's southeast, and you need to go southwest.
Oh.
Sounds to me like we need to make an arc.
And your cart is at the eastern edge of the city, and the Shrine of Arathis is in the very center of the city.
I feel like this was a poorly designed city.
No.
You could have stayed at a different inn.
Someone wants the Wrath of the Heavens.
I'm going to cast Mage Armor.
Okay, that's sensible.
Does Tristan, does my AC suffer or at all from damage to my breastplate from the acid?
It was a pretty big hit, but it was only a single hit, so -1.
Okay.
Now, as I was going to say earlier, before I get mounted up, I'll throw the cloak over Kikaze, since he's now the one carrying me. I kind of need him in one piece.
Okay. This cloak that seems lighter than it should be gets thrown around your shoulders, and after a moment you begin to feel this thrum of power from it. You know that, well, actually, because it's not an attuned item, you don't know what it does. Do you
but I know.
remember? Do you remember what you were told it does?
I do, and I was going to explain it to him as I put it around him.
Okay, cool. Go for it.
This should help keep you alive and make up that hole in your armor. Out of character, it gives you +1 to saving throws and +1 to AC.
Thank you, Cyrus. Sorry that we both got caught up in those.
No time for that.
You
Deal with it
can
later.
you can put it on your sheet temporarily, and I assume he'll take it back later. Oh, I didn't ask if you were gonna go, east, south, or west. But it's called the Cloak of Resistance, I believe is what I called it.
I think so. I'll go double check.
Yeah.
Yep, Cloak of Resistance.
Yeah. And so if you do an item search for that, it'll be one that doesn't require attunement.
Item search?
So if you go to equipment and then click on manage equipment at the right, you'll have a search bar that you can type in. Just type in Cloak of Resistance. Okay, so,
So does this dragon have a horde too, or is it just it?
You mean a
Just the
brood?
one? Yes, brood. That makes sense. Brood.
Who are you directing the question to, just so that I know?
Just kind of out loud.
Okay.
I'm directing
I
it
look
to
up.
the sky. Yeah.
You've previously given, Ash permission to respond to your allies' questions, right?
Yep.
Okay. Ash will bob for a moment, since you are stood next to Laramendus, and he will look at you. And you'll see the glow around him dim out into a bunch of glyphs that seem to swirl around him and then brighten back up. And he says, according to my records from the Dragonborn tribes passed down in the lands of Torlos, Shasharin was not known to keep a brood with her, and when she was struck down by the ancient champion of Bahamut, she was alone.
Well, at least it means it's probably only the one dragon destroying the city.
That's
Silver
not.
lining.
Yeah, also means it's above us. We need to move now.
That's not a silver
I
lining.
say we risk going to the cart.
You're outvoted.
Definitely.
You
Let's
do hear an echoing shriek.
I
of
worked so damn hard to get those guns out of that fucking...
This
If you want to go, kill yourself and do it.
drawn-out, hissing roar that seems to echo over the tops of the buildings and down the alleys. Some feral creature crying out.
That dragon makes the votes very easy. We should get to the mage tower soon. Like, why haven't we
We're not
moved
going
yet?
to the Mages Guild. We're going directly to the Temple of Arathis.
Yeah, whatever, same thing. It's the temple. We need to move.
Did I see Jebel grab the collar?
Yeah, nothing really obstructed you from seeing that he ran over there, picked it up off the ground, and I guess shoved it in his backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, then I'll come back to that later.
Okay. So, southeast or west?
I assume everybody's wanting to go southwest, other than Vendar.
I thought you said south. It's southeast.
So,
You want to go southwest. I'm saying, are you going to trout? So, Laramedis has asked which way to get to a main road, and Ash told him southeast and west directly all work.
Okay.
Oh.
As a matter
I'll kind of look at you and be like.
As a matter of fact, you can see the main road through this melted out valley of a building over here.
I'm gonna start walking that way.
Then west. Let's go
So what
west
are
if it's
we-
that close.
This
Is the
is
plan
east.
just to take shelter at the
Or
Temple of
east.
Arathis, or is there like an escape route?
I am unsure. Nalia said that that's where we should go and meet her. She is the kind to have a plan.
Let's go.
Okay. So, you begin... Not you. You begin making your way down this acid-melted path. You see the interiors of these buildings. You can see that they're, the cut like a layer cake. The floors open and exposed. That this building here looks like it contained multiple apartments, and from some of them you can hear cries of anguish and cries for help.
The guys come from the buildings we're passing through.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I did investigate.
Does it look like they just don't have a way down? Like, can I tell? Like, do I? have any
They
indication as to
sound
what-
afraid, and you don't know the layout of the building.
Yeah, I visibly try to try to ignore them. Like, it's clear that it's painful, but we have to move on.
I'm going to cast Wall of Stone and make a bridge. Try and make like bridges down from the different stories down to.
So you're gonna
street
try to
here.
make ramps.
Yep.
Okay.
And say, follow us if you want to live.
Okay.
We're going to the Temple of Arathis in case we get separated.
Yes. So as you guys move through this building, carried in on Yukikaze's back, you see Cyrus waving his arms and incanting in Draconic, and stone slides begin forming from the cloven floors of the building, leading down into this valley, either straight or curved as the space permits. You call out these things, and you hear cries back. There are cries of thanks and more cries of pain. You can hear people say, I can't move, I'm burned, and you'll hear others offering to help. You begin to see people making their way down the slides as carefully as they can, some burned as badly as Cyrus.
How many people lined up?
You are kind of doing this on the move, or at least the rest of the party is, unless you're hanging back. But, as the party moves out, 3 or 4 people have appeared. Tiefling, a couple of orcs, half-orcs.
Just give me 1 second.
Okay. As the rest...
The people who've gathered, how badly injured? Like, are they all the same, equally badly injured, or are they...
some aren't really hurt at all. They just were scared or didn't have a way down, it seems. But of the 4 that you initially see, only 1 is very badly burned, and you can see that their injuries are akin to Cyrus, where they've lost an arm and a sizable chunk of their leg, making it impossible to walk on. And it is a half-orc being held up between the other half-orc and the tiefling. They, as daintily as they can, sit down and slide down this ramp that Cyrus created.
Well, as we're leaving, if I notice that one, I'm just going to cast Healing Word, 2nd level.
Okay, on the acid burned person. So tell me how much you heal them.
Well, that minimized both fucking guys, so that's perfect. 6.
6. Okay. Their wounds begin to close. You can't do anything for the lost limb, but you can see that some of the muscle tissue that had been burned away on their leg is restored. It may be serviceable to walk on. And as they walk out, they say, "Thank you. I don't know what's happening. Suddenly there was acid everywhere."
It's a dragon.
And at this, all 6 eyes that are looking at you go, wide. They say, "What?"
It's a dragon.
Please hurry.
They They do. They begin hurrying out after you, and as you get to the road, you begin to hear a rhythmic chanting. And looking north up the road, I'm going to grab some of the tokens I have around here. Who are you? You're not who I wanted. Grab these guys. Yay.
I'm going to catch up with the group, and I'm just going to turn to Raiken and say, "Can you summon Kubriel?"
I mean, it's gonna take 10 minutes. I don't know if we wait 10 minutes.
Can you do it while you walk?
Nope.
No.
No, I can't.
A group of armed and armored Goliath city guards is marching down the street at a slow pace, saying, "Please follow us to the Shrine of Arathis. Please follow us to the Shrine of Arathis." And every now and then the line will stop, and one of the guards will go into an alley and come back with a couple more people, and they begin to gather this. You can see that they're gathering this group of scared-looking people behind them. But they keep rhythmically chanting their call.
Thank Avandra. Back up.
And as they get close, you will recognize that one of them is Crunch, who will give a signal to the people on either side of him and rush forward. And say, "What are you doing here? I thought you were on your way to the Temple of Ione."
Got jumped. No time to explain.
"What happened to you?"
Again, no time to explain.
"Give him to me!"
Real good.
I'll hand him over.
So you are being...
If that's what Cyrus wishes.
Yeah, like, I put up no resistance.
Okay.
"Follow me to the temple. We need to get there quickly." And he's going to yell to the others that he has someone severely wounded that he's going to be taking to the temple quickly. And he begins sprinting.
But right before he takes off, I want to say that there's one more missing limbs back there.
Can they walk?
I don't think so. At least not quickly.
The others will take care of them. We need you. And he's going to begin sprinting, and he is fast.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the split ends on my split dress, and I'm gonna lift them up and tie them around my waist before sprinting after.
Okay. You guys have a hard time keeping up.
Here, let me give you a boost. I cast haste.
Okay, he completely leaves you in the dust. Yeah. As you travel at Mach speed down the main road, you can see many of the buildings around you still look okay. People are pouring out of them into the street. As you can see other guard groups gathering people and telling them to go to the Shrine of Arathis. But you do see now and again like entire rows of buildings where the facades are just melted away, exposing the interiors, much like the building that you just walked through. You can smell the acrid odor of decay as the acid does its work on stone and sand and body. You can hear the moans and cries as Crunch sprints all out. And as he rounds the corner, you can see ahead that there are just a crush of people heading toward the center of the city. And beyond them, since he is holding you, since he's very large, and he's holding you at chest level, you can see that there is an enormous crowd gathered in front of the Temple of Ione. You guys have a hard time keeping up. but you sprint nonetheless. As he approaches, he pushes his way through the crowd of people that are walking up to join this larger body. And you can just see hundreds, if not thousands of people gathered. The clock tower, the entire eastern side of it, the stone is just melted away, exposing these golden-colored gears inside that continue to rotate against each other. They gleam brilliantly in the sunlight. And as you run, you can hear the sobs and cries and screams of people who are lost or injured or scared. And over all the din, you continuously hear this ominous screeching, this shrieking roar, not unlike the cry of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park in the distance. You don't catch sight of the thing, though.
Guess that's a good thing.
He pushes his way through the crowd and eventually comes up to... You see that there's about 20 feet of separation between the people gathered around the Temple of Ione and the people outside, who all seem to be standing there waiting. But you cannot understand why. And Crunch runs up and stops after pushing his way through the last of the crowd. And you can see, like, people stood around, like, yelling and saying, "Let us in, let us in." And I will say that this is a very confusing thing to hear, since everyone just seems to be standing outside. And Crunch calls out and identifies himself as one of the city guards. And a city guard that you can see on the inside steps over and identifies himself, and then seems to look you both up and down. And Crunch says, "I have wounded. He needs to see the healers." And the guard inside seems to squint at him and say, "Did you abandon your post? There are people out in the city who still need you." He says, "No, I informed the others that I was moving this one here. They are bringing more. You must let us in. I need to see the healers." The other one sighs and says, "You know you're already on thin ice, Crunch." But reluctantly, he steps forward. And as he does so, you're going to see one of the flagstones that he stands upon begin glowing a cool blue. And there seems to be some kind of pattern or glyph to it beneath his boot. And after a moment, it goes green. He says, "Alright, get in here. Don't let... Everyone form an orderly line!" And you can see this crush of people that were moving toward him, like, freeze and take a step back. And Crunch steps across next to the other person. He steps off the thing again, and it goes back to being unseen. The other people outside again begin crying to be let in. And he turns to Crunch and says, "That one better be worth it. We're running out of space in here. You'll all," he turns back to the crowd and says, "You'll all be let in turn. Form an orderly line." The rest of the party comes up to this crush of people in the street. It is just claustrophobic with the number of people crowding the street. And every time,
people here.
every time you hear the cry of this unseen threat, you can see this wave go through the crowd as they, like, duck down one after the next, trying to protect themselves from incoming injury. You know where they were supposed to go. You could try pushing your way through the crowd. Will you?
I'm going to send.
Okay. Who are you sending to?
Melia.
Okay.
Okay, Chess. I guess we're only this place, for my knowledge, just is only a place for healing. So, just I don't need to go in then, right? We're just looking to meet up.
You have no idea what any of this is about. Because you weren't there for the conversation with the guards. You only know that you were told to go to the Temple of Arathis, and you're not yet there.
Okay. That's right. Alright. So I will look at everyone and I'll be like, are we meeting Dahlia or someone here? Like, what are we doing here? Or are we meeting the others? Or other people or someone?
Wasn't it just in the way?
In the way?
It was just on the way to the Temple of Arathis.
This is the way to the Temple of Arathis.
Oh.
There's so many people here.
Yeah, I don't know
Why
what they're.
inside?
Raiken, Yukikaze, you can roll history.
I like history because I pay attention. And hopefully I roll good. Unless the dice hate me, like they always do. You guys are battle dice. You're not people. There. Not bad. Plus that 17.
My last third level spell slot.
Did you hear that, Tristan?
You got an 18, you said?
17.
17's good. You do recall from your multiple times walking across the city with the party from before going to the dungeon, and as you made your way to the Temple of Ione just earlier today, there is a Shrine of Arathis directly next to the Temple of Ione. It is a very small thing, but it's the only temple to Arathis you've seen.
Okay. Next to Ione. Alright. Alright.
Nalia's at the steps of the Temple of Ione. We should get to her. Which means we'll need to push through this.
Okay.
Alrighty then. So let's have some strength and dexterity checks. Let's have 3 of each from everybody. And type them into the chat. I need to get up for a second.
I'm sorry, what did you say to roll?
3 dex and 3 strength.
Oh, whoa, oh. 3 dex, 3 strength.
Oh God.
We'll do strength first.
Oh my God. Fuck.
Terrible.
Saves or just checks?
He said just checks.
Okay. I see that actually doesn't make a difference for my class, but yeah, whatever.
Wait, does check just mean just the flat dice?
It means the dice plus the ability modifier.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just don't get
saves.
my bonus because it's not a save.
Right. And you also have proficiency into 2 saves. Every class does. So, but for mine, that's charisma and wisdom, so it doesn't matter for these. But yeah. Ooh. Ah, dang it! I missed shift. That pulse is going to be added.
All 3 of my d20s want to piss me off already.
Always a good
You only
sign.
have 3? It's a shame.
Yeah. I only have 3, and that's 3 dex, 3 strength.
Okay, so these dice seem a little too noisy. I might want to switch them out.
Okay. It's just going to be distracting me. Okay. So, let me see here.
Did you say 2 strength or
3 of
Three.
each.
3 of each?
7, 16.
There, I edited mine. Mine is just a crazy variation. It's like this. Jumped from a 2 on die to a nat 20 for the first 2 texts.
Right.
In my decks, I got 2 15s in a row.
Oops. Let's do it.
Yeah, mine is just overall bad. Like I got 1 2 on the strength and 1 2 on the dex. It's just that I have a 3 dex and -1 on strength, so it makes a difference. But yeah.
Okay. So, you begin pushing into the crowd toward the Temple of Ione, and almost immediately, Laramendus gets separated from the group and falls a bit behind as you push against the throng of people. This is gonna be bad. I got a sudden and very violent nosebleed.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It's distracting me because it's going in my mouth and it makes you nauseous to drink blood. As I was saying, Laramendus gets separated by the crush of people and falls behind a bit. He begins to pick his way through a bit more deftly and make his way back, but he is knocked down again. Leah is also separated from the group. Oh my god, this is awful.
You deal with it, man. We can wait.
Excuse me.
Nosebleeds are the worst.
Oh yeah, I know. This.
It's been years since I had one.
Yeah, the thing is, I never had like rational nosebleeds as a kid, but as an adult, I've been having them once in a while. It might be. I think it might be related to my anxiety.
I used to have nosebleeds all the time as a kid, but I don't really get them anymore.
Yeah, same. I remember getting a pretty bad one.
I mean, I never really got them as a kid, unless I got punched in the face.
I would do it.
I mean, naturally, that would happen to me too, but I never. That's why I said like rational nosebleeds. I just found a compilation of scared cats. It's the funniest thing. I love it. Don't say that. That cat just had on a hedgehog.
My sister had a dog, a Great Dane, used to bring hedgehogs back to the house.
Wow.
That takes some dexterity.
No, that takes some
Sure,
a
will
high pain threshold.
yeah,
You
yeah,
just
pain
lock
threshold.
up with, like a hedgehog in her mouth.
Did they have like tons of quills stuck in their mouth afterwards?
No, hedgehogs don't. They
Oh,
don't,
my thinking.
Yeah,
Porcupines.
porcupines sheds there.
Porcupines.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hedgehogs
alright.
don't. They're more like hardened fur, really. Yeah. But yeah, it's prickly. You don't bite into it, but some dogs can just withstand that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when a hedgehog get like threatened, it will curl up. So there's really not much ways to bite it without biting the prickly bits.
Prickly bits. I like how you put that.
I don't know if it was her or if this happened before we got that dog, but we managed to find like a baby hedgehog, well, babyish, a young hedgehog.
I've seen a hedgehog once in my life. I was in Sweden. We were at the Swedish camping, and my cousins just yelled out that they saw a hedgehog, so I came rushing after and saw it for a brief second before it disappeared into a hedge. That's the only time I've ever seen a hedgehog in real life. They're not very common in Norway, so.
And it stayed true to its name, running into a hedge.
Yeah. And the irony to it would be if it was a hog in a hedge.
Are we dead yet?
We're waiting for Tristan to deal with that mostly. Oh yeah, you
I mean,
know.
Raiken's probably dead.
I mean, we're just going through a group, so unless the dragon arrives while we're at the group, it's fine. It's just that, you know, a roll's determined how quickly we get through the people. Or if we get trampled, I guess, which is a problem for Leah, but I actually rolled pretty well for strength. It's just that 1-2 that fucks me up. Besides that, yeah. Now, remember that I have a -1, so that was a 15 and a 16 on the die.
My strength is only that high because I have +5.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
exactly.
rolled all single digits. One of them being a 1.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah. How big are your decks?
My dex is
That's
That's a very
-1.
personal question.
Yeah, that comes out
minus.
very differently with the accent there.
Oh, excuse me.
If you don't know, we're gonna just leave it there.
Okay. Yeah, I usually don't notice how I sound. I know I sound
Well,
bad because
The
I'm
way you
Norwegian.
said Dex there with your accent made it sound like you said dicks.
Oh.
Somebody
Now
just
you-
has a dirty mind.
Yeah, you're just thinking about it too much.
No, I
there.
wasn't the only one.
I heard
I mean,
Dex.
Thomas is Irish. He always thinks about Dex.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, seriously. I mean, if I was from New Zealand, that's probably how I would say Dex.
Or South African.
Yeah, true. They do that too. Yeah, New Zealand. I kind of New Zealand and South African dialects kind of sound the same, really.
Yeah.
Strange considering
When I
how
watched,
far away from
what do you
each
call
other
it?
they are.
When I watched Thor Ragnarok, initially I thought that Korg had a South African accent.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's New Zealand.
He is, because it's Taika Waititi. And he's from New Zealand. He's the director.
Oh, right, it's the director that plays.
Korg.
I never realized. That's cool. That's a cool fun fact.
Okay, I super apologize for that. They usually clot on their own a lot faster.
You're good.
You don't need to apologize for sudden bloody, like, what do you call it?
Malfunctions?
Malfunctions.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was, anyway, sorry for the delay. So, with the checks you rolled, everybody had, 1 or 2 or 3, not so great ones. So, for one thing, it takes, several minutes longer, than you hope for to get to, the barrier, and you become very separated. Arriving.
Dragon fights us one by one.
Arriving all over the place. And it is, as you arrive at the front, you see the throng of people is, it kind of cones out into a single file line, and there are, like 5 Goliath guards just standing across the middle of the road. I'll just grab these tokens, because they're available.
2 games.
And they're, like, admitting one person at a time, effectively, on this side.
Crunch is off in there.
Yeah.
He's like gone. We can't see him.
Yeah. So you've completely lost Crunch at this point, and you see that there is this throng. You didn't see him anywhere in the crowd as you made your way up. But Lara, you know that Nalia told you to get to her, and so that's what's on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
As you approach this position, you can see these guards standing across the road and people moving up to them, and between them, one at a time, basically being, like, checked very quickly and then allowed in. Like, this isn't even like a weapons check or anything. They're like quickly checking people for wounds even, and then in. You're going to hear this horrific guttural shriek and just crack across the sky, and there's going to be a spout of acid that comes raining from the west, and you see it hitting air and spraying out, splashing, as though hitting a wall of some kind, though you do not see anything blocking its path. And it splashes... I need my pen. Right, I rebooted the program, so... all of this is reset. Jerk. Okay. Background layer. Over here. With, spray out here, and there's going to be this ripple and cry of fear, panic run through the crowd as this acid begins raining down, and you can see it like careening over the roofs of buildings and beginning to melt in, with smoke rising above. And let's see here. There you are. Yes. This massive... Oh, wait a minute.
Well, no.
It might be. Is that on the right layer? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Massive dragon kind of flourishes above and comes to rest, standing in thin air. And you can see she takes her claws and she looks down. And just to give you an idea, black dragons share a few common physical traits. For one thing, they're black scales. Ancient black dragons are massive in size, but they always have these bony horns that come from like the back and sides of their head and curl forward like elephant's tusks. And also their face is more like a human skull in shape. Like their scales ripple over this uneven terrain, forming like there's just deep set holes for the nostrils and sunken in eyes, and it seems to resemble almost a humanoid skull as opposed to a reptilian snout. They're also known for this
terrifying.
Yes, very horrible looking. Like, dragons are like big lizards, you know? If it wasn't the fear of death, they wouldn't be so scary looking. This thing looks terrifying. It looks decayed and rotten, even though it is clearly not. They're also known for the large fin that rides down the center of the neck from the top of the head. And she lands upon this platform, this invisible platform in the air, and she seems to, like, bring her head down low and look through it, and you can see all the people beneath her looking up in fear, throwing their arms up over their heads and screaming, and she takes her right claw and her right paw, and you see the claws extend, and she drags it across whatever she's standing upon. You see sparks fly as she does so, even though you do not see the platform upon which she rests.
Like a cat trying to get through a glass table.
And she says, in a deep and terrifying voice in common, "Yes, writhe in fear of Shasharin. This is my domain, and you are intruders." And she breathes another gout of acid, raining it to the north, and you can see it running like a waterfall over this invisible dome over the area, splashing down onto buildings and streets that way, out of sight, over the tops of the buildings around you.
Absolutely no time to waste, we need to get in there.
She continues menacing. I'll let you take actions. So you continue pushing forward?
Yes.
That is my intent. I assume that literally everyone is doing that, though, so...
yeah,
After that little display.
Yes, the whole crowd does surge forward, breaking the single file line, much to the ire of the guards within, who have to bodily place themselves in the way of someone. You see that the guard here steps forward to block a person, and as he does so, a blue glyph on the ground behind him goes yellow and then fades, and both people are forced apart. And he booms and says, "We can only do this in an orderly fashion." You surge forward, carried by the crowd. Vendar, you are pressed up suddenly against an invisible barrier. You can see a guard directly in front of you, and they look uncomfortable.
Okay. Is this the direction we're heading towards?
You're trying to go to the left.
But there's an invisible barrier now.
Yes.
And Shasharin was that way?
Shasharin is up, floating in the air without beating her wings. She's just sitting on thin air.
Okay, we can't get in. Why'd we come this way? You just walk to her.
The people around you panic. Since you're saying that they can't get in.
The people around you pressing you up against the wall are screaming at the guards to let them in. And the guards are shouting back to back up and form a single file line. I just want to know if anybody has any clever things to say or do. Or if they're just letting things play out.
Am I up by the gate yet?
You are back here, lost in this crush of people. The group has been separated as shown, and all the gaps between you are filled with people.
So yeah, I can't say anything. Too far back.
Did Lara Mendes mention Nalia by name, saying that's where we were going?
Yes, so before I said that we needed to push through this throng, I had said that Nalia is at the steps to the Temple of Ione, and that's where people should head. Can I make an Arcana check to see if I could teleport into there with Dimension Door?
Yeah, you can make that Arcana check.
That is a 22.
Okay, based on what you've seen, you're probably seeing a large-scale use of Wall of Force, and you know very well that you can Dimension Door past that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the interior isn't somehow warded.
Yeah.
But it also
Which
knows that
is
using magic in the city is
not generally, like, you don't generally need warding on the inside of Dimension Door because it prevents physical and ethereal travel. The only thing it doesn't stop is teleportation. But this is use of, if your suspicion is correct, this is use of Wall of Force on a scale you've never seen.
Yeah, I think Larametis is going to take a minute to appreciate just the sheer abjuration.
Yeah. Suddenly, this line between the people, to the left of the guards and you and everyone to the right makes a lot more sense.
Jeb was going to try and approach one of the guards.
Okay, you can squeeze through. You are small. There is a guard there. And he does see you squeezing forward and looks down at you. There is a sympathetic look on his face.
Hi, we're here to see Nalia.
There is a confused look on his face.
She's the Archmage. Do I know she's the Archmage from Bromdor?
I don't
know.
I don't know. You know that she is from Bromdor.
Roll a history check.
You know that Kazanari had been surprised that I was her teacher.
Oh, no. Kazanari actually directly said the Archmage of Bromdor.
Okay, cool.
That's a good point. I'd forgotten about that until you mentioned her name.
It's a 14 either way.
Yeah, you remember that. You know she's the Archmage of Bromdor.
She's the Archmage from Bromdor?
He's going to look even more puzzled for a moment, and he's going to step sideways to the other one. And
like, this isn't Bromdor, right?
And there's going to be a quick exchange, and they're both going to look over at you, and you're going to see the one that you were talking to, like, gesture, and they're going to exchange some more words. And then, finally, they're both going to come back over here and say, Why would you be looking for the Archmage of another country?
I think she told us to come here. I'm not sure. I'll have to wait for Laramentis. He knows more than I do. He's in there somewhere, and I turn and point at the crowd.
There's another gout of acid as this exchange happens, and it rolls down this side of the barrier, giving you a very clear look at the dome shape as it comes down like a black waterfall and begins pouring out and spreading. And finally, the guard that you were talking to says, "We do not have time for this. We need to get these people inside." And
let's look close for comfort.
People are quickly screaming and stepping back. You can see shoes melting as they get away, just not quickly enough. And there's going to be a dispute between these two guards. They both rolled shit, but the one we like rolled just better. So, yeah, you are actually going to witness them get into a scuffle. And the one you were speaking to is going to knock the other down and shout to the others who are going to come assist. They both seem like terrified and uncertain, but they hold that guard down, and this one gets up and moves over to that one tile and just slams their foot down, and after a second you see this blue glow surround their leg, and then it turns green. And Vendar, you suddenly, the bodies crushing you up against this invisible barrier become a force on top of you as you tumble inside as the barrier disappears.
Oh, good. I hope I'm not.
Oh, good, you're getting trampled.
I try to roll out of the trampleness.
Okay, roll acrobatics.
16.
16. Okay. You're gonna take just 5 points of bludgeoning damage as you try to roll with it and tumble your way in and get out of the way of this crush of people as they begin torrenting in like a floodgate being opened. They pour around the guards, who are the walls unto themselves, as the one standing on the glowing glyph shouts, "Go! Go! Go!"
Oh, Jebel is dashing, running, straight.
Jebel's gone.
So is Leah.
Little Jebel.
Jebel's a very small person. He's not going to handle a crowd crushing him very well.
Yeah, same goes to me. So I'm also running with the group, like just being a part of this flood of people.
The dragon seems to notice this, and she lets another gout of acid. She moves over and just lets another torrent of acid roll down the side.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still waving people inside. Come on, come on! When the acid rolls down the side.
Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Can I cast Wall of Force to redirect it away from the people?
Okay. You've seen where the edge of the Wall of Force was, so... And you can see it rolling down the dome, so you can extrapolate the curve. Are you going to try and use multiple walls to create a walled-in chute to direct it away, then?
Yeah.
Okay. How many walls? How many 10 by 10s do you get?
You can form it into a hemispherical dome or a sphere with a radius of 10 feet, or you can shape a flat surface made up of 10 10-foot by 10-foot panels.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, you can create a redirecting ramp to move it away, and so this acid, which is flowing menacingly slowly down toward them, you see this happening like in slow motion as this black ooze just rolls toward these people who are just dashing in as best they can. You can see it in your mind's eye as this curtain of death would fall upon them and destroy dozens of these people, and you quickly hold out your hand and incant and create several panels of invisible force, redirecting the acid away, and it crashes to the ground in a cascade.
Let's go, Lara Mendes.
Over here. It was very close.
That's all it needed to be. That's a 5th level spell. I've spent so many spells.
I'm out.
But once again, Abjuration is proving a good choice of school.
Wall of Force is evocation.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
So weird.
Yep.
I guess it's because it's force.
Yeah.
Okay. People continue to careen inside, and you are just pushed along with the crush.
Mm-hmm.
With the current. And you eventually pass beneath the black dragon, who seems to be stalking around on top of this dome of force, which, as near as you can tell, seems to completely encapsulate the Temple of Ione. As this whole area is filled with people, and you can see where acid damage has occurred within and without, and you can continuously see around the edge where this border seems to have stopped several of these gouts. Now, the clock tower is clearly within, so you can guess that it was damaged prior to this barrier being erected. The clock tower stands tall and magnificent and horrifically damaged, but interestingly, it seems only the stone exterior has been melted away by the acid, and the golden-colored gears within, which continue to churn against one another, seem impeccably shiny and clean in the exposed areas, and you can see in the areas still enshrouded in stone that they are more greenish and dirty looking. The dragon stalking above says, still looking down through and menacing the people beneath her. This barrier will not protect you from me forever. Tell me, mortals, what have you done with my beautiful kingdoms? My homes away from homes. What is this endless sea of sand? What have you done? And she continues monologuing in that vein. The people below screaming and crying in turn, uncertain of what to do, but other than hide beneath her. Eventually you make it through the crowds. It takes another 20 minutes of pressing your way through people huddled together in groups all around you, barely enough room to breathe. People who are healthy, scared, crying, injured, that runs the gamut. Some people seem to have, tired themselves out trying to get here and are still recovering from that exertion. You can see colors of different faiths as clerics go around, glowing light popping up here and again throughout the crowd as healing spells are cast. because this would have happened while they were getting to you, Cyrus. I will explain what happened with you. As I said before, you got through the crowd and into the barrier easily enough in the care of Crunch. The guards let him through with only a little resistance, given his track record. He takes you through, and you, as the others, see these multitudes of people have fled from their homes and gathered here, and you, with your knowledge of magic, come to understand that there is a protective barrier over this area. You're not sure its origin, but it seems to be centered on this square, this intersection. I think maybe I've stopped bleeding. Sorry, my plug fell out, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't about to start another torrent. Okay, yeah, I think we're okay. He carries you, and despite his size and despite his demeanor, which might lead one to believe that he is careless or clumsy, you are not often jarred on your trip, and are not often reminded of your own aches and pains by the way in which you're being transported. He carries you up the stone steps of the Temple of Ione and within, and you find yourself passing among the familiar stacks of books. You can see that in different areas there are members of the Temple of Ione who are concentrating on glowing magical circles on the ground at different intersections of the alleys of books. And he carries you in and off toward the back. Oopsie. And he keeps stopping at anybody who seems to be able to spare a second. And there are a good number of acolytes in here. Not sure whether all of them are actual clerics or not, but all of them are wearing the colors of Ione. And at every one of them, he's looking for someone named Shara. And they keep pointing him deeper and deeper into the temple. Until finally he comes to what seems to be a chapel-like area, a place set aside for worship. It's not extravagantly large. It looks like it could maybe hold a couple dozen people at once. And there is a tall statue of a woman who wears a mask over half her face. You recognize the symbolism that indicates Ione. And you imagine this is a figure of her. And you recognize the person before it, a female tiefling who is praying there. And she rises and looks over, and Crunch says, "Shara, you're the only one I know who can cast the magic we need." And she looks upon you, and you can see very poorly veiled disdain cross her face as she looks over you and your wounds. And she comes forward, she approaches you and Crunch. And she looks over you. You see her hard expression softens somewhat. She says in her familiar tones, "How did this happen?"
I was in the path of the acid when already barely clinging to life.
You will need to be regenerated. I can cast this spell, though I am somewhat loath to do so, given the circumstances before. However, I will look past this for now. But understand that I do not want you standing between Ione and her knowledge in the future.
I do not intend to.
Good. She takes a few steps back into the left and says, place him there, before the statue. And Crunch steps forward and kneels down low and places you... Whoops, I'm still highlighting both. Places you on the ground. She says, good. Now, go. People
Okay.
outside need you. What'd you say, Jacob?
Sorry, there's my cat. I forgot I wasn't muted.
And Shara steps up and begins casting a spell. She says, this will... Before she casts, she says, this will regrow your leg, but it will take some time. Let it do its work. And it takes her about a minute to cast the spell. Immediately upon finishing, as she finishes chanting in Celestial, she stands and says, rest here until you can walk. Many things are afoot outside, and I must help protect this place. And she leaves. And as you lie there, you begin immediately feeling better. You begin regenerating HP at a rate of 10 points per minute. And immediately you can feel the stump of your leg beginning to elongate and grow. It takes fully 2 minutes to regrow the leg, which is an impressively short amount of time given the extent of the damage, but that's how the spell works. And the spell will last for 1 hour, so you are capable of regenerating a maximum of 600 HP.
Which I don't even remotely have.
No. But,
Just keep melting and healing.
yeah.
I mean,
It's-
technically I can, but I don't want to.
It's 10 per minute for an hour. Regenerate. $10 per minute for 1 hour. Yeah, and it's not a concentration spell, so she doesn't have to do anything.
It just happens.
Okay. So that's what you're doing during the time that the others are trying to reach you. Okay?
Alright.
Alright. You all will find Nalia on the steps of the temple, and you can see that she is alternating between looking out over the crowd and chewing on a thumbnail, and offering aid to the people around her, casting prestidigitation and similar cantrips to comfort those around her. You see that she is in fall, Sam.
Okay.
And eventually you all make it through the crowd and are able to approach. As she is in the middle of casting a spell to clean a small child as you approach. So she is distracted.
I start counting every one of us to see if everyone's there.
Okay. It does appear that everyone is present, at least minus Cyrus.
Yeah.
Which means I'm gonna need to send to him to find out where he is. There's a 4th level spell.
So much fun. You get no additional benefit for this.
Did you see a
Maybe just
Goliath
goes a
running...
little bit faster.
Did you see a Goliath running past here holding Cyrus? I say to Nalia.
And Nalia, you see her, like, suddenly, stiffen and, look up from the child, looking around, and she sees you, and she turns back to the child quickly and, like, pats them on the shoulder and directs them away before, standing and turning towards you, wringing her hands together. And she will, look down at you and then look for the rest of the group and say, "Oh, good, you've made it." And she will, place a hand momentarily on top of your head and, like, ruffle the hair there before stepping past and over to Lair, throwing her arms around him. "I was worried that you were going to be melted."
I'm glad to see you safe as well.
Only one of us got melted.
He got better.
She's going to release you and say, What happened?"
We had been jumped by a group of ruffians that had stolen some of the stun scrolls from the guards.
You see her eyes kind of, like, go wide, and she dips into winter for a moment. Says, "Well, when it rains, it really does pour with you, doesn't it?"
They took all my money too.
She casts a look over her shoulder at Jebel. Says, "I'm sorry, did you piss some thieves off before you came here?"
Apparently.
The other night, yes.
The other night.
Yeah, we have a habit of doing that.
But what is the situation here? How long do we think before the dragon manages to find some way to disrupt the barrier?
She looks up, and you can see this hulk just stomping around menacingly above, doing everything it can to terrify the people below, and raining acid over everything that isn't protected by a barrier. You see the beautiful city of Tuca being slowly reduced to molten rubble around this dome. She looks back and says, "I mean, as long as she doesn't utilize magic that could destroy or bypass the barrier, I don't believe it will fail on its own, but we can't stay in here forever, there. And I can't teleport us out of here, not with..." She says, "And I can't," and she kind of, like, stops and then lowers her voice extremely low and says, "Teleport us out of here, because that will start a riot."
Can we attack the dragon?
Can you do what to the dragon?
If we were in a situation to do that, then the dragon would be in a situation to retaliate, which is not something that I want to deal with at the moment.
She clearly intends to make this her new home. She needs to destroy it first, of course, as we know from our studies on black dragons. So, that leaves our only option to begin teleporting people out of here a group at a time. And where should we send them? To Bromdor? At a time like this?
Yeah.
Is there anywhere that is in a state to accept this many refugees?
Eppengard?
She kind
That's
of, like, looks toward Leah, and words seem to die on her tongue. I hadn't considered Eppengard. Is Eppengard in a state to accept this many refugees?
That's space, and it's far away from here.
It's very far away from here, and I don't know anything about it currently. They're not exactly allies with Bromdor right now.
Well, this is
Bromdor
Bromdor.
sucks.
Thank you,
Let me know when I show
Vendar.
back up, by the way. I'm going to actually walk.
Yeah, I will let you know when you can walk.
Is there, do you think there's any possibility of us facing this thing, guys?
Now?
Do we
No.
What?
You wanna fucking fight it?
Do you have a death wish? Where are your clothes?
I don't have magic armor now, and acid doesn't agree with clothes.
He took the full brunt of the hit.
He got a little bit melted too.
Did you already face her?
No,
just
she gave
random
us-
acid blast.
gave us a present.
Cyrus died.
The sorcerer?
He's fine. I revived him.
He's currently in the temple. One of the clerics cast Regenerate on him. So his leg should be fine shortly. I told him where we are.
Jebo will reach into his backpack and pull out the collar that Cyrus had on and show it to Nalia.
This looks a lot like the grenade you gave me the other day there. What is this?
I step away from it.
I am unsure.
Cyrus was wearing it, and I think it was hurting him. It exploded
Get rid of that
slightly
thing.
when I took it off.
She's going to reach down and take one of the halves of it from you and turn it over in her hands. Say, fascinating. It's definitely the same structure as the arcane grenades. It's something designed to channel a particular magic. It would take me a while to decipher exactly what it was supposed to do.
I know what it does. It
Will
belongs
you-
to the man with blue hands. They use it to keep sorcerers from using magic.
I'm sorry. And she kind of covers her eyes with her free hand for a moment and says, "It belongs to the who?"
The men with blue hands, they were here.
And she's going to look over to you at this Laramandus, very grave, and say, "They're supposed to just be a ghost story."
Can I make a history check?
You may.
Ooh. That is a 28.
Yeah. Yeah, you've definitely heard these rumors and ghost stories and folklore. Sorcerers aren't well known to the general public, but as a studious wizard from the university, you are well aware of them and how they function, and you are aware. You even have a few of these stories written in your journal, actually, of a group of people who claim to be the true heirs of magic, who see sorcerers as thieves, stealing the arcane power that rightfully belongs to them, and so they capture these people and perform some dark rite that almost always ends with the death of the sorcerer, and bestows that sorcerer's innate magic power onto the person performing the rite. And these people are known for their blue tattooed hands, and the more blue flame tattoos they have on their hands, the more coded they are in these glyphs, the more sorcerers they have drained and the more power they command.
Magical vampires?
That's what the ghost stories say. But they were supposed to be just that. Sorcerers weren't common enough to be a good source of magic.
They're very real. They had me for a year in the orphanage. Obviously the magic don't work on warlocks, but they didn't know what they were. Can we talk about this later? I don't really feel like it.
Of course.
If the true heirs of magic are real, then every sorcerer we've known is in danger and doesn't know it. And this, and she holds up the half of the collar, almost reverently, is probably how they steal the magic.
Permission to arrive?
You may.
Darn right, that's how they take it.
Grab your token. Whoop. Boop. 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 And Nalia is going to turn to you, still holding the thing, and looks you up and down and says, "What happened?"
Got knocked out, got chained up. And that thing started siphoning the magic out of me, whether I started casting it or not. But anything I tried to do with my magic just got sucked away before it could be of any use.
Boop. Now I have a way of depicting it. Meet Summer, Nalia.
Just runs over to Cyrus.
I mean, runs is a strong term. He's not that far away. She's going to examine you, and she's gonna like reach down with her left hand while still holding the remains of the device in her right, and she's gonna like grab you by the chin and gently twist your head to the left and right and up, trying to see something. And you kind of see an almost disappointed expression cross her face. She's like, It looks like the regeneration spell has already taken effect. I can't see what this did to you, but tell me, do you know if it took your magic for certain?
I lost magical power. I don't know if it was able to take some away permanently or only for now, but some is gone, and I did not use it. Similar to that of the storms in the desert.
Interesting. That makes sense. And she turns back to Larry. You can see the glint in her eyes. Like, it's the same magic, Larry. There could be a way to use this.
No. You will not use that. That is meant for evil. It should all be destroyed.
This was being... She's going to, fade.
It was also quite an unpleasant experience. Burns, it saps away what it can.
We don't need to use it in the same way, but it is a path, a basis, a starting point. Your friend, Naravar, he taught me about residuum, and how it is used, and how it is often produced.
He's still here, or did he run?
Oh no, he's here.
Oh, God. Hey,
I think he's reading.
we may very well need his help if we want to try and save these people.
I don't know the extent of his abilities, but we talked extensively about magic items and residuum, and he mentioned to me that there had been a device that you described to him that the Lich was using to create residuum, and you thought that perhaps it was using the magic drained by the storms.
Makes sense.
If this is the same arcane energy gathering spell engraved into this, and she holds it up and then waves toward Jebel, device, I may be able to extract the root of the spell and recreate one that isn't specific to sorcerers.
Maybe dragons?
Maybe dragons. We could have a way of producing residuum there. We could make magic items.
How did they get this thing? These, what did you call them? Blue hands? Did they? I wonder, did they know the Lich?
Are you asking her, or who are you asking?
That's in character.
Right, but who are you directing the question at?
It's more just...
Thinking out loud?
Yeah.
Oh,
Thinking out
okay.
loud.
She doesn't
How-
have an answer.
How long do I think that the stories go back, as far as I can tell?
At least a couple hundred years. But they're so sparse, and they've never been corroborated, so they were just folklore. This interesting tale of magical vampires that you never had much evidence of. I mean, it was as likely that the missing sorcerers had just failed to cast enough spells and exploded as having been drained.
I suppose it's possible that they had something to do with the Lich, but that seems a bit of a stretch. I would find it more likely that they just managed to recover some artifact of the city and replicate it.
And how does Leah know them? And he kind of turns to look at Leah.
I told you them. They had me for a year. Until the fire.
What would they do with you? Wait, are you a sorcerer?
No, I'm not, but... Look, it's... The priest didn't find out what's wrong with me, so they were called in to help. But they didn't. They held me for a year, trying to decipher what I could do. They tortured me. It's... I don't want to talk about it.
If these
Much
people are
as I'd
so...
love... I feel-
If this group is so mysterious, how did this person know how to call them in? Or do they pretend to be... Are they pretending to be someone else?
The ladder. They told the people at the orphanage that they were experts of magic.
As much as I'd love to go over this in very fine detail at a later point, we need to focus on the dragon in the room.
Or outside the room, in this case.
Okay.
We are a vast collection of magic. How many of you have ways to attack indirectly that might be able to pass the barrier without it going down?
Yeah. Maybe.
I have nothing.
Indirectly, not really my style.
Get them all out.
So no Leah, Dribbles, and maybe Laramendus. What about you?
To go through a wall of force?
Let's go through, but just start on the other side. Something like Wall of Flame.
Sam is looking. I don't believe so, but... I mean, I guess technically Chill Touch.
Well, that's not enough.
It's also worth mentioning that while she's up here on the dome, she's about 400 feet in the air.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. So we also have a way up there.
Because it's a dome, so that means it's as, half as tall. Well, if it's half as tall as it is wide across, the diameter is about 525 feet. So she's like 200 feet up in the air, I guess. 250. Not 400. 250.
If I was able to get within range, I could try and buy us time with a scroll of polymorph.
I would be very surprised if,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
about all I got, though. It's that and Wall of Fire. That's the only things I can use from this side of the barrier.
Do I still have my scroll of polymorph? Those people have thought that was horrible.
She, takes... Why are you not moving? Oh, I'm measuring, that's why. She, has been shouting and saying, basically repeating this message of how she's going to make the place her home and destroy everyone who's here, and blaming the humanoid races for their short-sighted destruction of her original beautiful home. And suddenly she lifts off and heads off to the west. And you see her, swooping repeatedly in a north-south pattern to the west.
That can. Looks like she's melting the rest of the town that direction.
Isn't that where the wagon is?
No, the wagon's to the east.
Oh.
To the west,
the docks.
the docks.
Dukes.
Just so you know.
Yeah, that's important. So much for the docks.
So no country will likely be able to take in everyone from here. We do not know the current political situation in Ebengard, other than the fact that they are at war with Bromdor.
You know a little bit more than that.
Ebengard.
What else do I know about that?
You know that they are actively fighting Bromdor as allies to Aspara in Aspara. Yeah. So you know that at least part of their fighting force, part of their fighting force is away from home.
I mean, you could try and split it up amongst Evangard and possibly Digoselthus.
Do you have a contact in Daigo upper management that would be able to okay a large number of people entering the area? Nalia asks.
I could send to the Daikon.
Really? You're on a sending basis with the Daikon.
I think this will be the first one.
Recently. Although, better than ascending would probably be to speak through Ash. I don't have any contacts in Evangard, though.
How is Gabrielle there?
She was doing well, although the city had been dealing with some riots between Avandra and Arathis supporters, which might make them less likely to be able to take in refugees.
So she still hasn't solved that problem. Good to know. That's what happens when you split your loyalties.
But aside from the fact, even if they were to accept, do we even have enough ability to move this many people?
Around you, people are crying and wailing and terrified. It would take several castings of teleportation circle. She, again, quiets her voice as she mentions teleportation.
As well as an extreme level of coordination that I'm not sure will be easy to pull off in this chaos. The guards are doing what they can, but...
Well, failing that, there are only two other options. Hoping the dragon gets bored and leaves, which I don't see very likely. Or fighting it off. Which
Also,
sounds like suicide.
Yeah, it's not seem very likely. By the way, I do hope you have the armor with you. Or is that lost too?
I wasn't worried about that until after we figured out what we were going to do, but that is a very fair point. Did you still have Hobbit's armor?
And Nalia will look over to you and say, yes, it's inside the temple. I left it nearby Naravar. Whether or not he realized that and stayed with it is entirely up to chance. He seems very distractible.
Last time we were in the city, taken by a dragon, all sorts of creatures from the Underdark took advantage of the situation and went in. You think that could happen again?
Where is the nearest entryway into the Underdark to the city?
Nalia looks to you and shakes her head. Says, I don't know. It's possible that with the desert the way it is, there aren't any. But the ground is more stable around the city than elsewhere in Toralos. So it could only be a matter of minutes or hours before we see exactly what happened in the Seat of Bahamut happen here.
It could be less likely though, since there's not a particular thing that needs to be removed, like with the Seat of Bahamut.
Unless they know the armor is there.
Getting their hands on the technology in this city could be equally attractive to them.
Perhaps.
She gestures to the clock tower. The exposed, golden-looking gears within. Teaming up with a black dragon for that sort of a thing would be incredibly efficient, since all of the items you've shown me so far, and all of the ones I've ever seen that appear to come from Garland, are invariably made of the exact alloy of copper, which is resistant to acid.
I forget if we told that. I need to roll a history. Like, do I remember if we told Nolly about our other dragon friend? I think we did, but I don't remember.
Yeah, you can roll history.
It's a little poorly. 14.
Larry, you informed the party that you had performed sendings to inform her of your interactions with Cyrus, right?
I'm fairly certain.
Yeah.
I know that she knows.
Yeah, I know she knows too. I just didn't know if the party knew.
I tend to say what I'm sending when I'm going, like at least the gist of what I'm sending when I cast sending.
Yeah.
So those people are gonna ask it because they know the spell well enough at this point.
With all this chaos that's going on, guys, I don't remember. Did we possibly mention so far that there's a black dragon here?
Yes.
Okay.
She is aware and had another matter that she wished to attend to.
Crap, that's right. No dragon reinforcements.
As much as I hate to say it, I might just get her killed even if she did come.
I find that likely.
Oh, look who's back.
She, slams down on top of the dome above you, again shaking you all back to reality from your conversation, and you hear her hissing and growling above, and she says, "You can stay in there as long as you like. When these barriers fail, I will make a throne of all of your corpses."
I turn to Leah and say, "Is there any way that your that Zentharamel might be able to assist us in transporting large numbers of people into the Feywild?"
I don't know.
It's a good point. Lorelei would have found you by this time.
Oh.
And happily reunited with you. And then complained that guards don't listen to her.
Yeah, but she would probably notice that Leah is very distant.
She seems to talk at you then.
But yeah, she woke up a little when Lerman spoke to her, and she would look over at Lorelei. Do you know if it's possible to contact him at this point?
I can speak with him, yes. But I don't think that we can transport these people into the Feywild without an actual perpendicularity.
And the closest is in the island in the east, right?
She pauses and looks thoughtful for a moment and says, "Yes. Well, no, actually. She stops. She raises a finger on your shoulder and says, "No, that's not true. The closest one is in the center of your Great Lake."
We cannot get people there quick enough.
And she kind of like flutters off your shoulder and looks to the west, and then flutters back down and she says, "I do believe the dragon has been destroying all of the boats."
Of course. Then no, Larmendus, I don't think Centermal is able to help. Not that way.
He may be able to come and lend more direct assistance. He's still tethered to you.
Are you saying he could have a chance to fight this thing?
I think it would get him killed. I'm simply presenting you with an option. And I am loath to present you the option because I'm certain if you suggest it to him, he'll run here.
Yeah, I don't want to put him in more danger. Not if he... I mean, some extra hands fighting the dragon would be useful, but I don't think it's enough.
He needs to focus on his kingdom. She falls silent after saying that.
Yeah. What about our dragon friend? How quickly can she come here?
She is currently going to check on the status of name.
Elsaman.
That's the name.
Yes.
Which would be approximately where, do I think? I can roll something if you need me to roll something.
History.
I'm good at those.
You are.
23.
The middle of the Great Lake.
So, yeah, I will say that.
Treacherously near to the perpendicularity.
I do not know that she will herself be able to deal with the dragon, though, considering
Not
what we've learned.
alone, but it could be more firepower. If we choose to fight.
I'm not sure that how many of us are there? 7?
In total, in your party, yeah, 7.
Yeah. I'm not sure that the 7 of us provide much of a force multiplier to her in that encounter, other than one extra target that will go down quick.
Not without a full armor or Bahamut, at least.
That's if there is anything crazy special that will, like, single-handedly wipe out a dragon.
We should probably just get back to dealing with these people.
I don't have any option, guys, other than relying on you magic users at the moment if we can't face this thing head on.
It doesn't sound like facing this thing is an option. Well, not a good option.
No, I think running is the... Yeah.
Perhaps we should bring Narvar in on this discussion in case he can offer alternative solutions.
Well, that's what I was also thinking. Being from another world, he might know some oddball that might be able to help us.
It's so stupid.
What's that?
That the program doesn't just use the Windows browser. It has to run its own browser, which has a memory allocation. So I went to go check for another token, and it crashed.
Yeah, I just caught up to that, like the stream.
Yeah.
Like when you said it, we could still see the map. So.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. That's why I always save before I go searching for tokens anymore. So we didn't lose anything. Except for the grid. Huh?
Nothing. I said crashies.
Yeah. No, it sucks. Anyway, continue. Sorry. Cyrus just suggested talking to Nerevar.
We should go find Erevar.
Nalia will demur and say, well, if your intention is to speak with Nerevar, I told you he's inside the library. Somewhere.
Let's go get him, so.
He's so slow right now. Sorry, I'm seriously just trying to get to a particular token. It's just like, let me die. Oh, there's the
Token Erevar.
Yeah. I'm going to black you out for a moment. Boop. Did that seriously not? I scrolled to the token I wanted. I grabbed the token and tried to drop it. And it's like, oh, you want to keep scrolling? It's like, no, stop scrolling. I just want to grab this. The program is great when it's working right. When it decides it doesn't want to work anymore, it is a butt.
Poopy face.
Yeah. Come on, please. 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 It's just not doing anything. I can't even click on like file or anything. It's just hung. It is chewing up 55% of the CPU.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's a memory leak. Why don't we just take a breather on that for a moment? I'm gonna kill it again. Sorry. It's just, and I apologize. It's such a useful tool when it works nicely, which is fair enough most of the time. Okay. Maybe. Oh. Nope. Still being shitty. 65% of the CPU now. Never mind. It crashed.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. This is impressive. I haven't had this much trouble in a while. Man! Just wanted to do one thing. But okay. What a pain in the butt. Let's quickly try and get into this one. Maybe that will spare us a little bit of death. Yes, that did. We'll just grab this guy and drop him here. Okay, we'll just continue with that action and then hope later on I can do the other thing I want to do. Ooh, I just had an idea. So, she told you where Naravar is. Are you going to run it by the group, or are you just gonna, like, run off on your own to go find him?
I mean, I'm looking to see if the group wants them in on this, or if they're just determined to do it themselves.
His magic does function differently. I turn to Nalia. Are you aware of a way that might be significant to what we need to do?
Like I said, I haven't had a chance to discuss everything his magic can do, but he seems to be able to cast a version of teleportation circle, so... And, as she says it, she suddenly, like, you see our eyes go wide, and all the people around you go teleportation.
Oops.
And, quickly people start pressing in, saying, "Please, get us out of here, please! We need to leave! Do you see that thing? You can teleport! Why are we still here?" She is going to, quickly start moving toward the door of the temple. Pushing her way through the crowd. And casting, like, thaumaturgy to try and scare people away from her.
I'm surprised she knows that.
Cantrips are useful.
Yeah, but it's surprising for an arcane caster to have a divine cantrip.
I believe it's just a cantrip.
Thaumaturgy's only on the cleric and druid spell. Well, it's not even on the druid spells, is it?
Yeah, druids don't get it.
Clerics only, and tieflings for some reason.
Cool. In any event, she begins casting spells that make her scary, and people get away as she makes her way toward the door. People continue to crush in on you, saying, "Can you teleport us out of here? Please, we're suffering. Get us out of here." And it becomes very quickly overwhelming. So you stand there and take it.
I mean, there's not much, like, I mean, I'll try and get some breathing room, but that's really all I can do. I mean, I'll deny it, but there's not much point. because, I can't, but don't believe me at this point.
I mean, you are a halfling, aren't you able to sneak out through people?
I can move through people, yes. And hide behind other people.
Okay. So you can get out. Some decision or action, please?
He's not just talking to me, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you're going to die, crushed by people who are trying to escape.
Yeah, okay. No, that's not good.
I mean, let's follow Nalia, right? Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow Nalia.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll need strength and dexterity saving throws to get away from these people who are now clinging on to you. Begging for you to get them out of the city.
How many?
1 each.
Are these saving throws, or are they just
Saving throws.
ability checks?
So we get the Raiken's bonus.
Those who are in range.
Oh my god.
One of each.
Yep.
And who's in range?
Everybody except Jebel and Cyrus.
Oh, great.
And it's a +2?
3.
3.
Laura Mendes is apparently done with this shit.
You did well on your saves.
I got a 20 and a 25.
I did really bad. I want to climb up on someone.
I'm just picking people up by the head and moving them aside.
Alright.
Can I once Raiken eventually just pass through me, can I just cling onto his back and just stay as close behind him as possible?
I'll know how well I'm gonna get the dex.
Your dex was shit, which means you have to force your way through.
No, that's Raiken's way of doing things.
Jebel's strength is shit, so people who grab onto him, he's having a hard time getting rid of them, but he's dodging his way through the rest and avoiding getting grabbed by any more. He is small, so just like managing to there's one person who's like grabbed his clothing and is like, please, if you're going to teleport, take me with you. Don't leave us here to die to this dragon.
I don't plan on it.
They pull out a drawing of their kid.
Think of my child. Look at them, they'll be orphaned. They could die too.
Then they won't be orphans.
They won't be orphans. That's so evil.
Ouch!
Raiken just starts shoving his way through the crowd.
What is your alignment again?
Grabbing Leah.
Joel's like, eh. I don't see Cyrus's saves.
I didn't know how to make saves, so I was under the impression I was doing the move through people and hide thing. I wasn't sure.
No, that's fair. You are better at that, so. Vandar. He does okay. He manages to break away from the people grabbing him and then dodge through the rest of the crowd. Yuki can interchangeably shove and dodge, however he prefers.
Both. He's dodging people and shoving them.
He's the plow.
Dodging people into other people.
I'm just twirling and dancing and flinging people in the air.
Flinging people in the air.
Wow.
No, I'm not. Okay, that's a little extreme, but
A little.
Fucking yeet the crowd.
It's like in the opening to Lord of the Rings when Sauron is just swinging that mace and people are just going flying.
Yeah. Only it's Yuki Kaze. Alright, so...
We're here to protect you.
Leah, you managed to grab Raiken. His motion pulls you free of the people clinging onto you, and you force your way through the crowd over to the doors of the temple. You close the doors of the temple behind you and are immediately scolded by the nearest cleric who says the temple's open to everyone. Joel's like struggling, wading through, like, wait, please help. And no one helps him. Okay.
Poor Jebel.
he's small. I lost him. I can't see him.
Yeah, I'm clinging to Raiken, so I can't really see him either.
Once inside, you guys lose yourself in the stacks, and you know that the doors open again behind you, and people begin filtering in. But as I said, there's enough bookshelves around here to quickly break line of sight, and begin looking for the Eladrin from another world. You eventually catch up with Nalia and begin moving through the stacks together. It takes you about 5 minutes to find him in this place. It's very large. I think that regenerate spell is just about worn off too, Cyrus, so you should be fully healed by now.
Alright.
Tenfold.
Well, the clothing are still awful.
Okay, our whole leg again.
Does it have one of those, like, patient clothing that doesn't have a butt?
I was looking so forward to calling you Peggy.
No, hobbles.
I don't think they changed his clothing when they cast the spell. I think they just cast the spell.
Yes.
I wanted to give him a eye patch for a gift.
Clothing is very drafty. So, you do eventually find Nervar, and he is seated at one of the tables. He has several books stacked up around him. Larry, you immediately notice that the lion's share of them are historical pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And Cal is also sprawled out across one of the books with it open beneath him, and he seems to be scanning down the page. He's got his little finger claws on his wing joints, like wrapped around the top of the page, and you see him kind of like lift an entire half of his body to get the page turned, and then slides it neatly under himself, and then flops back down and begins reading the next page. The group becomes known to Nervar, and he looks up from his book and says, "Ah, hello. I was just educating myself on some of the history of your world." Did the city solve the problem?
Problem? No.
There's
It's
currently a problem.
You mean the dragon that's trying to kill everyone?
Yes.
No, it's still there.
Oh. Well, what are you going to do about it?
We were hoping you might have some advice.
Well, I do have some advice, though I don't know if you'll like it. He, kind of straightens up in the chair and folds the book in front of him back closed, before interlacing his fingers before him. Says, I've traveled to a great many worlds, as I told you, and on some of them, as I mentioned, there were great threats to the existence of life on those worlds. And on every one of those, I witnessed, at least as long as I was there, as far as the beginnings of the formation of a resistance against those dire situations. And it always started around a small group of people who, prior to a certain day in their life, were not very outstanding, and then suddenly were outstanding. Usually it seemed that danger and death followed these people. They accomplished a great many deeds, leading up to the vanquishing of a great threat or evil. Heroes.
Oh no, this sounds like us.
Indeed it does. Which leads me
Think we
to
should fight it?
the suggestion. I think that you are meant to fight it. But that is only what I see from the outside, having seen it elsewhere. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps you are not the ones who are meant to fight it.
I thought maybe, but these guys all think I'm crazy. But it's hard to say. It's a frickin' black dragon, so you know.
It's an ancient black dragon.
Yeah.
It's the ancient black dragon.
Well, what are our other options? Are we going to teleport people elsewhere? Do we have the magic for that?
Outside of the three of us, I'm not sure that it is possible that one of the clerics here might be able to, theoretically, to assist, but I'm not sure outside the three of us there'd be anyone that could.
I mean, clerics don't get teleportation circle.
Certain domains do.
They do?
The Arcana domain. Which, if you're going to find someone with the Arcana domain, the Temple of Ione is probably one of the safest bets. Which is not to say that there is a fourth person in this city that could.
Just that the best chance will be here.
It's possible that one of the other mages from the guild is capable.
Kalimdar can. He's high enough level there.
But even with 4, I'm not sure that we can evacuate people on such a scale, even if we knew where we needed to evacuate them to.
Then perhaps you just need to lead it away or drive it off. Perhaps not kill it, if that is outside of your ability.
What would cause us to be driven away, though? That's something outside my knowledge, other than maybe a substantial amount of damage.
Do you perhaps know a place or a thing it is more interested in destroying than this one?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Perhaps the armor?
Maybe we could convince it that Garland's still around and should go fuck that up.
I don't know much. I do know that she is loud, and it sounds to me like she's well aware that it is not around anymore. She has spent the last hour blaming all of the humanoids living in this place for turning it into a desert and stealing away all of her kingdoms that she liked to nestle upon. You'd said that this place wasn't always a desert, and so I'm guessing that it was not a desert when she was put down, and since became one. That all matches up with the timelines you gave me. So her surprise at the change of scenery seems rather logical.
Do you think maybe she might be afraid of the armor if supposedly another champion of Bahamut showed up after her last dealing with it?
At the very least, she might want to eat them. How quickly can you move?
I mean, we can try to fight it, but there's a high chance that we all die.
He spreads his hands before him, elbows still on the table, and says, "It is my policy to be as little involved in the dealings of the worlds I visit as possible, because I don't want to influence things in a way that I should not. It is, however, hard to know exactly how far I can push things. So, you can consider me an ally if you wish to challenge it."
That might give us a fighting chance.
It does sound like she will be powerful even by my standards. So the armor of Bahamut, that sounds like something she'd probably want destroyed, which means that she probably has some weakness to it in some way. So that would be useful.
It's said to be the thing that was used to stop them last time, but we don't have the whole set.
Can we make her think that we do?
Well, if you know what the other pieces look like, couldn't you create an illusion? You're a wizard.
Just checking things. I don't think I have any appropriate illusion spells.
I think I do. Minor illusion. If I know what they look like. Tristan, do I know what they look like?
Yeah, I only have minor illusion, so if you would rule that was something that could be done with minor illusion...
I mean, it can create small handheld objects, right?
It can create objects that are no bigger than a 5 foot.
No bigger than a 5 foot square.
Cube.
Cube. Square. Yes. Same thing. Yeah, so a sword and a shield are no bigger than a 5 foot cube.
So, two casters doing...
One creates a sword, one creates a shield.
Which means that we are down 2 of our casters for the entirety of the time we're doing that. And the larger issue is that he wouldn't be able to move using them.
You know, if we keep casting, he'd be able to move slowly. But I'm not suggesting it for, like, if we get into a fight. Perhaps try and intimidate her through the dome. I mean, it is see-through.
Wouldn't that just make him more angry?
If we can make her scared that we will be able to take her down, then it might be enough reason to get her to flee. I don't know where she would go, though.
You think like a scare off that thing?
She got taken down by it once. She might not take the chance right now after just being directed.
I must admit,
time-
that's not a bad idea.
And
She have been spending that entire time plotting her revenge.
I have a bit of a way with dragons. Might be able to help.
Right, because your father is a dragon, yes. Are you still in touch with your father?
Define and touch. It's not like I have sending.
Maybe he sent you a letter. The post office is still intact.
A telegram.
Somewhere that acid puddle over there, it's possible. Not really a style.
Shall
though.
Cyrus and I begin looking for, in the temple here for physical descriptions of the sword and shield so that we might replicate them?
And
Raiken might be able to draw it for.
You see a smirk spread across Nervar's face, and he taps the book in front of him 3 times, and then digs his fingers into the middle of the volume and flips it open and turns it towards you. So, do they look like these?
I look at Raiken.
Should I roll, or would Raiken pretty much know from growing up?
I mean, you can see that the page says the gifts of Bahamut.
Oh. Yes.
He chuckles and says, "As I said, I've been doing some research into the history of this place. It seems your champion of Bahamut, Shasharin, wielded these." And Cal chirps as he repeats this line and says, "and defeated Shasharin once before. Seems to be a silver-scaled shield, and this pangolin-looking sword, and the armor, which has the platinum dragon scales, which I believe he kind of like periscopes his hand around his head for a moment, then points into a corner and says, I left over there."
I can use search real quick. You're back.
If you can make yourself look like Shasharin, and Cal chirps again, then perhaps you can bluff it. Certainly a better plan than suicide. And a damn sight better than getting me killed too.
Yukaze, are you ready for your time to shine?
I was wondering, I don't know if that would work.
Rude, Jibble.
I think this is Teledragon. What if I say the wrong thing and it catches on?
This is a what?
Do the sword and shield change when when the pieces themselves are attuned together, or when the resistances are changed? The scales would shift color. Does the shield as well?
He flips through the description, skimming down one page at a time. According to this witness report, which was collected 1,000 years ago by the temple. Very nice. The armor could change color. The sword could change shape, but it did not do it automatically. It was a will thing. So it wasn't necessarily a sword, it seems. It could have been a trident, or an axe, or a spade, I suppose. The shield has the ability to absorb elements, according to this account, but it doesn't look like it does anything their fancy until it is in the presence of a draconic element. At which point, the wording here in draconic is a little weird, but I believe it translates to a vortex of color pulls the magic in, and it burns with that element. Supposedly, they weren't certain the mechanism of it, but it says here that when fighting the dragons, Shagrazir and Calchirps again would hold up the shield to block their breath weapons, and the shield would absorb it, and after a while, perhaps 2 or 3 breaths, he would be able to turn the power back on the dragon, and it would come out as partly radiant. I don't know if that helps for your illusion, but it is very intriguing. Very intriguing indeed.
For the bluff to work too, I'd have to probably be on the outside of the barrier, though.
Perhaps not necessarily. If you can show off the items and convince the dragon they're genuine, she might leave if she's actually afraid of them. If she's not afraid of them, then I don't think you should go out there anyway. Unless you intend to fight her head on. You can still, this whole time all of this is going on, you can still hear the growing din of the moans and cries of people, and the occasional boom of the voice of this dragon as it shakes the stones of the building as she shrieks about her birthright. They said that the barrier that protects this place is the preservation of Arathis. It's really quite ingenious. They have a number of glyphs of warding that can be used to part sections of the barrier to let people pass. They react specifically to members of the city guard.
Fuck.
Fun fact. I must be honest, I did not expect to see magic of this level when you told me that you had the lion's share of the magic.
Come on. Where is it?
It seems they'd been keeping it a secret even from the Temple of Ione.
Which I'm sure they're not too happy.
Temple of Ione is very happy to learn about its existence and how it functions.
Well, they weren't happy that it was.
I don't think they spent that much time dwelling on it. New information is new information, and now it's no longer a secret.
Perhaps there will be a discussion months from now, but now the people who got here are safe. The knowledge is known. It's about as much as they could hope for now.
Yes. The clerics here are doing what they can to preserve the knowledge within this place, should the worst happen. And it seems to me that should that barrier fail, the worst will. This may in fact be the worst happening as we speak. So, what will you do? Do you wish to engage my services and fight this dragon to the bloody end? Or will you try this ploy instead?
I like the idea of not dying, but the ploy has one problem.
What's that?
If we do scare it off, it just means this is going to happen to another town somewhere else.
This is true. What's better? Destroying this place, yourselves included, when it seems to me you're fated to take this dragon down, whether you like it or not. Or send it elsewhere and perhaps recoup that damage when you deliver the final blow. If you fall here, who is left to stand against this dragon?
Pretty much nobody.
Interesting. So, should you fall here?
Not if we can help it.
And you have a plan to take the dragon down, should you not fall here?
Get the other 2 pieces and put them to use.
That sounds like a plan.
And maybe also ally unions in the war so they can help fight it as well. I mean, if you have an army.
Indeed. You'd said something about some nations not being allied and fighting a war now. That seems like the kind of division that the dragons would take advantage of.
Yes, Bromdor and Aspara.
Indeed.
With Ebengard helping Aspara, as far as I know.
What I've been told, they tried to stop this division earlier, but evidently that has
Yes,
not
because the
going
leader of Bromdor is an idiot.
I very much don't like him. Could we ask some of the guards to perhaps help us in the fight?
Perhaps. I think that's up to them. I can't speak for them. I've simply
might give
offered
us a
my
better
services.
chance. Even if we can just make it so that the dragon doesn't kill us as fast. The longer we have to fight it, the more damage we'll have to do. Or be able to do.
Here's my suggestion. We try the ploy. If it works, we get the armor, we kill it as soon as we can. If it doesn't work, we armor ourselves to the teeth and we try and take it down. Any objections?
I'm ready.
Well, that sounds like that's all we got at the moment. I thought there was something.
Naravar is passing his eyes over the group, and he's got kind of this, very intrigued expression on his face. He's smiling in an almost unsettling way as he sees people, like, getting on board with this. And Cal is going to, like, lift himself off the book and like, lean toward Naravar across the table and whisper loudly, say, "He's gonna be the new Shagrazier, just like ours."
Right. That.
I don't think that's right, Cal. It's not the same person. Probably, he turns to the group, probably just a common name in Draconic.
How common is that name in Draconic?
Not common, because it's not Japanese.
Not asking you, I'm asking the DM.
Like I said. Right, Tristan?
It's the only one you know of.
Yeah, not that common. Only one I've heard of. Ever.
My companion is convinced that this champion of Bahamut of yours is the same person that I met in passing some 400 years ago.
Well,
And that is why I think that is inaccurate, because I knew him 400 years ago, and all of the books here indicate that he lived 1,000 years ago.
doesn't time function kind of weirdly in the Feywild? Perhaps it got dumped him out here earlier in our history than it did you.
I cannot refute that. I do not have enough evidence, as I've never been aware of the time and position on two different realities simultaneously. So, yes, Cyrus, that is possible. But the part I find more improbable is that the Shagrazir from my world would have left, especially in a manner similar to how I did, and wound up here. Why? I have a very plain reason for being here. I'm looking for someone who might have come here. But I knew a soldier 400 years ago who led a squad of mercenaries during a battle which I had arranged. They did their job, they survived. That was the last I heard of him.
Well, can't say that I know, but perhaps something worth looking into after this is said and done.
Cal's gonna crawl across the table and up onto Nerevar, and you'll see him, like, kind of flinching as the claws sink in. See, Cal was right. It's him. Nerevar simply sighs and shrugs his shoulders to reposition the bird on his back, and says, regardless, it is neither here nor there. The current problem is the dragon, Cal. The dragon is the current problem.
Admitis? Kaze? Are we ready?
Well, first I gotta get the armor on.
Well, then suit up.
Nalia will kind of, like,
I'm gonna need help.
sigh and say, yeah, I wasn't done with it yet, but, seems like you need it. Interesting.
Oh yeah, Raiken, by the way, you may have pissed off the Raven Queen.
What?
There we go.
How could I have pissed her off?
By resurrecting me.
Well, that wasn't worth it.
Just wanted to give you a warning in case you end up with a face-to-face later.
I mean,
Alright, well, next time you die, I just...
did you turn him
Just kill him twice as hard.
Did you turn him into an undead in between?
I'm gonna say no, although I can't be certain.
Unless he's considered undead now.
You could always, just when
Well,
he's
made
done
undead.
slaying Bala, you could just send him back. Just kidding. We love you, Cyrus.
But are you really?
No, I'm kidding. Bahamut would not like me to just kill someone. That would be wrong.
I think.
So you met the Raven Queen in the afterlife?
Anyways, we're getting off topic here.
Well, we can talk while you're putting your armor on.
Fair point. I'm more worried about this yet, and I'm gonna be. Whoever's, I need help though. Who's helping me?
Raiken will help.
So you're talking over my shoulder while this is happening, like
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Raiken's like, oh wow, a god hates me. I'm getting popular.
The wrong kind of popular.
I find it difficult to believe that the Raven Queen would hate you because you resurrected someone. It's something that happens quite frequently within the purviews of other gods. As long as you weren't undead.
She probably was just dissatisfied because she wanted you.
I wouldn't say hate, but you're not exactly her favorite either.
What did she say? I mean, I assume you must remember she said something. Otherwise you wouldn't say this.
In character, I repeat exactly what was said.
You remember that well.
Do you not remember what she said?
I don't.
You better go back and watch the latest episode of Everybody Loves Raiken.
Roll history to see how...
I know one part was, why do they always meddle in the affairs of the dead?
Okay, I mean, that's an
I think
important
before
one.
that there was just a no.
Yeah.
But I got
Except those were like, no!
I got a 21 on history.
Okay. When you began glowing, she looked at you and realized what was happening and said in a very dire tone, "No. Why do the living always interfere in the affairs of the dead?" And as you began to fade, she said, "No, no, no!" And she grabbed onto your essence and tried to hold you in the Shadowfell.
Alright, I will inform Narvar of this, / the party.
The Raven Queen is ultimately concerned with the fact that people die when they are intended to die and stay dead. So that she got as worked up as it sounds like she might have. Perhaps you were supposed to stay dead then, and you've missed your mark, as they say in theatre. Yes, Sam.
Well, depending on how the rest of these events go, only by a few.
I've
minutes.
been told by people who have described meeting her for different reasons, this would include clerics of the Raven Queen who can speak to her without dying, that one of the things she tends to remind people is that every death has its time. And so, I don't know, maybe you got a glimpse beyond there into threads of fate or some such, and that was your time.
That's very troubling.
Well, I think the only real question now is what are you going to do with this lease you have?
Well, start by putting one foot in front of the other.
Now that you've
saving
got
who I
2 feet?
can. Yes,
Jump right into the
definitely
deep
have
end,
2 feet.
fight an ancient
Also,
dragon.
how did you know about that?
Are you kidding me? The clerics here won't shut up about it. Someone came in with only 1 foot, and they had to call their best priest to heal you because she's the only one who can cast Regenerate. And I must say, I'm impressed because I can't even do that. Limb loss is quite permanent where I'm from.
Alright. Good to know.
I thought limb loss was permanent here as well. I wish I could do that kind of magic.
So out of character, Leah might remember that we sent a child off to go and see a cleric about a leg.
Yeah, but she didn't expect it to actually work.
That's fair.
That's
But, there could at least be the assumption that like those of us in the know about
It
magic
can happen.
were aware that it was feasible. But yeah, that is also fair. Just to be like who would have thought that it would actually like it's what you say to the kid to get him to start like.
You done yet, Raiken?
Am I? Is anybody else helping?
Make sure you get that tight.
Make sure I get it tight.
I don't need to be falling off.
I go to strength test how tight you make it now.
Nolly is
Yep,
just
Raiken is going to make it as tight as possible.
Nolly is just staring longingly across the room at the armor.
So, I should threaten to open the barrier too when I step out, right? You guys agree to that? Think that?
What benefit do we gain for threatening to open the barrier?
As my part of my intimidation of walking out there and saying I'm gonna kick her ass? I was thinking of walking out and say, get ready to open the barrier, and then I'm gonna make comments after that to try to intimidate. Say, get ready to open the barrier. So she's thinking I'm gonna actually do something.
If we are near the edge, we should probably have a guard with us when we're doing this. Does anyone know where Crunch went?
Well, I don't want to open it. I'm just saying, like, oh, to say show the someone that can open it. Yes, I agree. Yes, I do need that.
You caught a glimpse of Crunch going back out into the crowd to do his job earlier before you entered. Before Cyrus rejoined you.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like you have a plan for what you want to do about this. And I guess we'll just have to wait until next time to see how it plays out.
Oh, okay.
Dun, dun,
If it turns into a fight, I don't want to start the fight.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't, it's still going to be a bit of a scene, so...
That's actually kind of a good thing, too, because Malachi
I know what you're going to say.
forgot the level, because he leveled and he didn't do the math yet.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, sweet.
Good job on leveling, congrats.
Put some points into bluff.
Oh, I already have, I have 1 charisma, because I'm awesome. +1 to charisma. Because I wanted to be charismatic. Even though it's not really a thing anymore, I still like that style.
So, was that sufficiently tense with the dragon?
It still is tense.
Well, yeah, that's why we kept pausing, Tristan. You're like, come on, guys, probably think yourself, all right, let's make a fucking decision.
It was mostly just that one time when the whole crowd around you was trying to tear you apart to get your teleportation circle, and you're just standing there letting them.
We're deer in headlights. It's a freaking dragon. We're just kind of like, what are we gonna do, guys? What are we gonna do?
How do you think they feel?
Yeah, well, they're just freaking NPCs. No one cares about them.
They're just NPCs.
What a motherfuckers.
You heard about that guy's family. Had a picture and everything. He was gonna retire.
Nice. Okay. Everybody take 600.
I think I'm gonna level before I get off, just so I don't forget.
Cyrus has 600 and a leg.
Add 1 leg, Cyrus.
You didn't even end up the hop-skotch champion at the end of the day. What a disappointment.
I was disappointed in that. I was hoping you'd have a peg leg.
I wasn't, I half expected the haste, but I also had hoped you wouldn't, because I knew if you did, you would leave the party in the dust.
I was hoping Nolly would make the first prosthetic leg.
Oh,
He said we need to hurry, so I gave him some hurry.
Oops, can I undo that?
And only him.
Well, I can only apply to one other person at most.
Yeah.
All right, I just need 6,000 experience from Dragon.
All right, cool. So 10 more sessions.
So you know.
So we'll have
I'll know.
10
I'll know the
sessions.
dragon fight.
I need 3,899.
I'm always impressed with how you're still so far ahead.
Yeah. But I am.
In any event. Yep. So,
Wait,
good stuff.
how do I undo on D&D Beyond? Can I? Probably not.
Well, what did you do wrong, exactly? Because you might just have to go back into edit and do the thing.
I clicked the level to change it to 11 to do the level up.
Okay, I'll help you here. Alright, thank you everybody for coming to the stream. Bye!
Bye!